St. Joe, and they're from Cook County in the GCAC. Moline, of course, represents Rock Island County in the Western Big Six Conference. And there you see the score. We are about to go to the third overtime in this game. Some of the key players in the game include Immaculate's Heart Chris Muscala, number 22, who's had 40 a couple of games this year. And as you mentioned, Tasha Brown for Moline, a 6-foot forward, led the team in scoring a dozen times this year.
Yeah, she's an outstanding player. Their other player inside, Michelle Roziers, has fouled out of the game, and they brought in a big sophomore to replace her. But they're going to be tough here down the wire because they're big inside and very physical.
Moline lost only to Maine West, Coach Kip's team, 71-64, and to Peoria Manual. And Immaculate Heart lost only to New Trier and Young. Now, there is a good house here for the third place game, and it's building toward the title game also at Assembly Hall. You're looking at Monica Fallon, the 6-foot sophomore that will go into the middle there against Shelley Zalis for the Fighting Tigers. That's Muscala, and Zalis goes to the block. A lot of this game being played inside now. As Coach, do teams get a little conservative in overtime play?
Well, I think when it gets down to the last minute or so, probably, but they've been going up and down trying to get their shots, and I think what's going to happen here probably is going to come down to a shot that somebody's going to score in the last few seconds of the game, because these two teams are very competitive, and they played once at the National Blue Star All-Star Camp this summer, and it came down to a one-point win by Moline right at the end of the game, so this is just kind of a rematch, and it could go the same way.
Here's the shot for two by Michelle Westerdale, and Michelle comes off the bench, and she did that for 16 points and 13 rebounds in a game against Champaign Central earlier. Moline's in the lead.
Yeah, she's a sophomore. She's an outstanding player. We've played against her for a couple of years now, and she is really tough.
Muscala just inside the three-point lane, drills one, and it's all tied again. Muscala will attend DePaul in pre-med, and she's #1 in her class academically.
This is a new point guard for Moline, Kelly Myers, who's come in to replace Stacy Paller, who is their floor leader, and that's going to make a difference.
There you can see the ball on the floor, and going over to the Fighting Tigers. 15, Heather Hudson checks in for Moline, and Kelly Myers goes out. Kara Fry, 15, and Muscala in the backcourt. And Moline sets in a 2-3 zone. Now it extends.
They're probably going to try and work the ball to Muscala here for a shot if they can, but Kara Fry's a deadly outside shooter also.
In AA, in the 88 championship, Maine West was the winner. In 87, these Fighting Tigers won it. Candace Ward is 12 on the left wing, Fry over on the right wing. A minute and a half to play. We're tied in triple overtime. We'll have to get the record books out early today. They want to go inside if they can to Zalis, but she's triple team. We're running some clock here. 35 in the game for Tasha Brown for Moline, number 51, and Muscala has 28 in this game for the Fighting Tigers.
They've got Kara Fry at the line now, and she's a very good free throw shooter. She's a senior, has been on the team for 3 years, so she should be able to hit these.
Kara Fry, 5'8" senior.
Kara's going to be going to Harvard.
She will attend. She's one of the elite that was chosen in the early signings at Harvard. She's #2 in her class academically. Big free throw. The clutch. 3 of these starters were on that 87 championship team for Immaculate Heart.
Right, Kara was like their 6th man that came in that season, and now she's moved up to, of course, starter the last 2 years.
You're looking at the triple overtime in the third place game of AA. Immaculate Heart leading Moline 64-62. A minute 10 to play in the third overtime. We're just in front of the championship game between New Trier and the Marshall Commandos of Chicago. And everybody in Champaign-Urbana has been buzzing about the potential of that championship game since New Trier knocked off pre-tournament favorite Maine West. And Coach, when you're the undefeated team, you get to be the favorite all the time.
Yeah, it was a great game we had with them up there, and it came down to about the last 3 minutes, and they got a couple breaks, and they took advantage, and they're here. So we're pulling for them. We hope they can represent our league and win.
Sizemore missed a shot for Moline. The clock's down to 45 seconds. Immaculate Heart has the ball in the lead. Gunning for third place in AA. Running a weave out top. This is to melt the clock. The Tigers in blue. Mascala inside, nicely done on the pass. Stacy Petruccio.
Petruccio has had the tournament of her life here. She's played so well. She's really going to be a player next year.
Heather Hudson in front court. 15 seconds is all that's left in Moline season unless they can rally. Shot is good. Pam Sizemore from the right wing hits a three, and it's a 1-point game. 9 seconds in timeout.
Right, Sizemore's on a good three-point shooter. They also have Tasha Brown who can shoot the threes, and Kelly Myers hit 2 against us down in Moline. So if they get the ball back, they can put the ball right in the basket.
Dave Powers, the coach of Immaculate Heart, and he questioned the call of a three, but the official said no doubt about it, and Coach Kelly Wynn of Moline was pleased about that. Those are the Fighting Tigers, 30 wins and 2 losses on the season. And they started this tournament beating Jerseyville 84-42 and let everyone know they were aggressive.
Right, Jay, they really did a job on Jerseyville, and they had a lot of pressure, and they were so much quicker than Jerseyville that it was not much of a game after the first quarter.
Immaculate Heart, of course, plays in Cook County. Enrollment 1636. Moline, a big school, 2,425 students. And now the Fighting Tigers will have the ball, holding a 1-point lead. Will they get the ball in Mascala's hands here?
They need to. She's their best ball handler, and if they get it to her, they're probably going to have to foul her.
Zalis gets it, and they give it back to Mascala with 5 and a foul. So Chris Mascala, a 5'9" senior, will walk the other way and shoot 1 in bonus.
Chris is a 3-time All-State player in the Chicago Sun-Times and the All-Area, which is voted by the panel of 19 coaches in the Chicago area, and it's quite an honor, and she's going to be looking for a nice career at DePaul.
You bet. She had 40 points against Mother McCauley in one game and 40 more against the Sales, so very capable scorer.
She's a great shooter.
It's a 2-point Fighting Tiger lead in the third-place game. In case you just joined us, New Trier, the Trevians, 32-2, and the Marshall Commandos, 28-2, are coming up in the game for the state championship of AA. 2 free throws by Mascala. 6 seconds. Moline, will they shoot another 3 now? The ball out of bounds, and it's to Moline. It's over. Immaculate Heart has won third place.
Second time Dave Powers been down here, and he's gotten 2 trophies, so he's doing a good job.
Final score in triple overtime. The Fighting Tigers of Immaculate Heart of Mary, 68. The Lady Maroons of Moline, 65. Well, that puts one notch in perspective of this afternoon session. And as the teams are applauding the victors, Immaculate Heart, in just a moment, the Commandos and the Trevians will come out. And Daryl Kipp, you can appreciate with your great record the coaching superlatives of Dorothy Gators and John Schneider. Let's start with Dorothy Gators. In 14 years, 368 and 30, and she's won the Public League title 12 in a row.
Yeah, it's true. And, you know, this might be her best job she's ever done coaching, because she may not have as much talent totally as she's ever had. She had to put the team back together. They lost all 3 ball handlers from last year's team, and when we played them early, we were able to capitalize, press them, and force them into some turnovers. And she's done a great job bringing along her freshmen in the backcourt, and she's also done a good job bringing Kenya Pittman into the point guard role. And it's not easy to play when you don't have any guards, and she's really developed some this year, and that's probably, I'd say, her best job of coaching. She might agree with that.
We'll be back with talk about New Trier and the winning coach in the third-place game in a moment. Now let's take time out from one of your network sponsors, the Illinois Pork Producers. Has won third place in the state AA, beating Moline 68-65 in a triple overtime. And Coach Dave Power, first of all, congratulations on the victory.
Thank you very much. I don't think anybody would have noticed unless you mentioned it that was a third-place game. That was one of the all-time classics down here. I was just happy that we came out on top. It was just a great ball game.
Have you been in a triple overtime game before in your coaching career?
I've never even been in a double overtime game. And I'm just so happy for the kids. We really wanted it. It's tough sometimes to get up for a third-place game. I think you saw both teams took this game just as if it was for the big one.
They really did. You know, there's been talk down here over the years of whether or not there should be a third-place game. I guess your answer is?
Most definitely have that third-place game. You might see one of the all-time classics as you did today, because those girls are going to play their heart out, and they're not going to give up, and that's what happened. Both teams fought all the way.
Well, I think we should talk about some of your players and even ask some of them to step in with us if they can, but because they're, of course, the reasons that you're here. Joining us, Stacy Petruccio, Kara Fry, and Chris Mascala. Girls, congratulations on a wonderful victory. And Kara Fry, we'll start with you. How do you feel now? Tell us how you're feeling.
It feels great. I mean, to end our season on a positive note, it's wonderful. I mean, it's only us and the winner of the next game that can say that. So it's been a great season. Nobody thought that we were going to get down here. And, hey, third place isn't bad.
You bet it's not, Kara, and congratulations to you on a wonderful year. Chris Mascala, how are you feeling right now?
It's just awesome. You know, I'm kind of sad that my high school career is over, but to win it at the end of your career is just awesome. It's an awesome feeling.
Tell us about your year, what your goals were at the start of the year, and what do you feel like now?
Well, our goals were to get down state, and after losing to New Trier and Whitney Young, you know, we kind of questioned if we were going to do it. But when we got down here, we came here to do a job, and I think we did a good job, and we accomplished a lot.
Chris, I think our viewers would be interested to know your plans after high school.
I'm going to DePaul University.
Well, congratulations on such a remarkable year. Stacy Petruccio, you're still another one of the fine players on this third-place team. Tell us about you. How are you feeling?
I feel great. I mean, I can't believe we've taken third place. I mean, 2 years ago, I was sitting at the bench watching us take first place, and now we've gotten third place. And just the 3 overtimes is really overtime. What do you call it? Overtime. It's not making me well.
What did your coach tell you during these timeouts and before this game today? What are some of the things you remember being told about this tournament in the locker rooms?
I'm sorry. Well, he had confidence in us, and he thought, you know, we were a real good team that, you know, he had confidence for us to go all the way.
He told us that being in the third place game, we got to go out there and play like we want this game, and I think we did. We showed we wanted it. Yeah, he said we couldn't take it just as another game, that we wanted to win. He really didn't know how we felt before the game because, I mean, of course it's a letdown not to be in the championship, but hey, we went out and we got it, and we did it in a great way. I'm
going to give all of you just a moment to be prognosticators because you're very superb high school basketball stars. But New Trier, the Trevians, are going to play the Commandos of Marshall for the AA state championship. And I'd like to have your best guess as to who will win that game. Stacy?
Well, they're both really good teams, and I think New Trier could come and
all right, we have one guess for, that's all we can do now is guess. One vote for the Trevians. Chris Mascala.
New Trier by 10.
Now that is a prediction. See, that's specific. Kara Fry.
New Trier, they're definitely going to win. I want them to win. And hey, if we have to lose, we're going to lose to the champions. So that's fine.
Congratulations to all of you. Have fun and enjoy the rest of your careers.
Thank you.
Coach, come on in here for just a moment. Because we'd like to ask you about the teams that are coming up in a little more detail than who do you think's going to win. Tell us about New Trier and Marshall from the coach's perspective.
Well, you have a great matchup in the middle with Tony Foster and Trish Andrew. They could cancel each other out. I don't know, but I think the key to this will be the outside perimeter shooting of New Trier. If they're hot like they were last night, I think they should win this ball game. But Marshall's pressure defense may take that away, and they can do that with only using one player because Foster can guard Trish by herself. In our case and some other teams' cases, you've had to use 2, and that leaves someone free. And that's why Ramanowski's just so tough, because you double up on Trish, she'll bury that 3-pointer. It's going to be a great game. I'll be surprised if it goes 3 overtimes, but I think it's going to go right down to the wire.
What do you look for as to keys for winning? If you were to say what the key for our viewers to watch for Marshall, if they're going to be successful, what would that key be?
The key for Marshall?
Yeah.
The key for Marshall will be to up-tempo the game. I think they need to get some full-court pressure, create some turnovers. If it's a half-court game, I think they might struggle a little bit. Although there are 2 games down here, they've worked quite a bit on the half-court. I think to credit to Dorothy, I think that was intentional because she knows that this could be a half-court contest.
And what would be the key for New Trier?
New Trier's got to get help from their role players as they have all year. The Heather Leahys of the world have to have good games because I think Tricia Ramanowski will be can carry a trade-off with Pittman and Foster. So I think the role players are going to have to come through for them and give them, somebody's got to come with double-digit scoring for them.
Coach Dave, thanks a lot, and congratulations on 3rd place in the state of Illinois. I think your team played hard, and it was a credit to you. I know you'd want to say thanks to all your fans.
Yes, I'd like to say thanks to all our fans for their support. And in the state championship final, I was so out of it, I forgot to say, Julie, I love you. And my kids, it's just been super year for us, and thank you for all your coverage for girls basketball. We really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you, and thanks so very much. Have a good day. Here is a very familiar face to high school basketball fans around the state of Illinois. Dorothy Gators is the coach of Chicago Marshall, and unbelievably, she has been able to put a team together that has won the Chicago Public League Championship 12 times in a row. And Coach Gators, how do you do it?
Well, we've had a lot of luck somewhere along the way, but our kids always work very hard. To the credit of the city teams, it's getting very, very difficult for us to get down here.
Coach, what did you tell your team at the start of this tournament play? What goals did you set?
Well, we always set our goals at the ultimate. We thought that we could be in this game today, and luckily we're here.
Tell us about some of the toughest games you had this season.
Probably our games with Whitney Young. It's always a tooth and nail affair. They have an excellent team. It's great competitiveness, and so that has probably been our toughest competition all year.
If the viewers watch Marshall today, what will they see on offense and defense? What should they look for?
Well, we hope we show patience on offense. We hope that we're able to play aggressive, pressing defense without fouling.
What about New Trier is going to cause you problems?
Their size is certainly something that we haven't been faced with a lot, and their patience, too. So we're going to have to be very patient on defense.
If you could name the score in what area you'd want it, you want it in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 80s, where do you want the score?
Well, we want our scores in the 80s and theirs in the 30s.
Very good. All right, finally, Dorothy, what about your team? Who are some of the keys to your success?
Well, probably our 2 post people. Kenya Pittman is our point guard, and she's been shooting very well. Our post people are LaTanya Foster and Rita Hale.
Coach Gators, congratulations again on making this championship game. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Now we're going to bring in a very familiar face, broadcast colleague of mine on these tournaments for years, John Schneider, but he always told me, Frank, if I could coach this game instead of broadcast it, I'd prefer, and you made it, Coach. Congratulations.
Well, thanks a lot, Frank. I just want to tell all your fans out there that I learned so much from you in the last 3 years. It's really been a privilege to work with you, but I sure am glad we're playing here today.
Well, I think your team deserved it. First of all, let's start by talking about the fact that your team broke one of the great winning streaks of all time by Maine West, 65 victories in a row. Tell us about that game.
Well, that was a fabulous streak they had. You know, Darryl Kipp, who's going to be your sidekick tonight, I want to tell you, now, Darryl's probably a little bit nervous, so just get him a little bit loose. But they play a great schedule. You know, it wasn't a bad schedule like a lot of teams might have done. They played the hardest teams they could possibly play over a span of years and beat them all. And it was really great for us to win that game. And we had a hard time, you know, it's been 11 days ago since we won that game, and we haven't slept since.
Was that game a game that made your team have a letdown after it?
Well, we did have a letdown against Evanston, but Evanston's a good ball club. But we did have a little letdown, and we were down with 1 minute and 22 seconds. We were down by 4, and a lot of people were going home, but we're playing here today.
Obviously, you played supremely well in that game. How have you played since?
We've been playing really well. We had a hard game against Tinley Park. They're a well-coached team, and they're big and strong, and we beat them, but it was close. We beat a good Immaculate Heart of Mary team yesterday, and we beat a good Prospect team in the super sectional. So we're playing very well.
What goals did you set for this team before this season started?
Well, Frank, you know, I think every coach would love to play in Champaign. We just wanted to play in Champaign if we could. Then if we got here, why, we thought maybe we'd try to win it. But I think the girls really thought that we could do it, and I thought we could do it, and we're here.
What did you tell your team before they came out here, and what are you going to tell them before this game starts?
Well, we have to play really good defense, but we have to be able to handle their press. You know, they press continually all the time. They're sort of like Maine West. Maine West has a ferocious press, and so does Marshall, and we know that we have to be able to handle their press, and we want to try to make them pay for pressing. We want to get some easy buckets off of their press, and if that happens, why, we're going to be in the game.
Finally, Coach, you won the state championship in boys in 1962 for Decatur when it was in Huff Gym, and now you have a chance to be the first coach ever to win in both boys and girls. Is this a goal you set for yourself personally?
Well, it'd really be fun. It'd be a great thing. But my goal is to win it for the girls, because I'm going to continue to coach. Even though I look like I'm 80, I'm really not. I'm going to continue to coach, and they're going to be gone. So I hope we win it for the girls. It's been a pleasure to work with you over the years, and it'll be a pleasure today to watch your team in action. All the best to you. Well, thanks a lot, Frank. I really appreciate it coming from you. That's Coach John Snyder of the Trevians of New Trier, and we'll be back after this from one of your network sponsors, John Deere. The Assembly Hall at Champaign-Urbana, and we're finally ready for the championship game in AA between the John Marshall High School Commandos of Chicago and the Trevians of New Trier. Of course, New Trier is in Winnetka in Cook County. They have an enrollment of 3,373. They play in the Central Suburban Conference, and this is their second appearance in Champaign. They edged Tinley Park in this tournament 52-49, and they also overpowered Immaculate Heart of Mary 69-56. Those are the Commandos of Chicago Marshall. Public League in the Red West Division. Their enrollment is 1,898, and the Maroon and Gold are in their 10th AA appearance and their 12th appearance overall. Coach Darrell Kipp of Maine West, these are two excellent basketball teams.
They really are, and New Trier, I think, had a little tougher road to get here. They had to come through Maine West, and we have 3 all-state players in Mary Spielman, Tasia Georgianis, and Myra Canale, and then they had to get by a real tough Evanston team who can beat anyone on any given night, and they have some good players. Jackie White's one of the best sophomores in the state, and they had to play a good prospect team from the Mid-Suburban League, and then they got down here, and Tinley Park was, they were really big, and they gave them all they wanted, and that was a tough game for them. And of course, IHM is an excellent team, so they've had a tough route. On the other hand, I think Marshall, probably Whitney Young, was their toughest game. They were challenged in the semifinals. I think they were 2 points ahead at halftime and behind a little bit in the first half in the semifinal game, but then not till the Chicago finals when Whitney Young played them that they really had a contest. So down here, they've kind of dominated the teams they've played. The Romeoville wasn't able to keep up with them, and Moline was not able to keep up with them at all. So I don't think New Trier has played the kind of game they can play since they played us. They've been a little bit flat at times, and I don't think that Marshall's played the kind of game they can play yet. So if both of them are on their game, it's going to be a tremendous, exciting thing for the fans to see.
You know, Marshall's defense strikes you. They only allowed 32 points in their quarterfinal game. They only allowed 31 points against Moline, and teams have shot less than 35% against them. Talk about Marshall's defense. Why is it so good?
Well, Marshall's very quick, and they play a lot of trapping defenses. They're also very patient on offense, so that helps their defense out. But one thing about Marshall, you cannot turn the ball over. We were able to beat them earlier in the year. We had 1 turnover in the first half and 3 in the entire game. You can't turn the ball over and beat Marshall. Their transition game is what they like to live on.
What about New Trier? What kind of defense will they play?
New Trier plays basically man-to-man in 1-3-1 zone, and they're real tough with it. They sag back in their 1-3-1, but they come out and pressure in the man-to-man. So it's going to be interesting to see what John opens up with. They played man-to-man against us the whole time, and they've been going to that 1-3-1 to try and keep Trish Andrew out of foul trouble. So we'll probably see a couple of zones to open the game, or if New Trier comes out in the man-to-man, I think I'd be a little surprised, but we'll see.
The stage is set, and now it's time to meet the players and the coaches in the championship game in AA. And for that, let's go to the public address announcer at the University of Illinois, Rick Atterbury.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now let's meet the competitors in this 1989 Class AA championship game between the Commandos of Chicago Marshall and the Trevians of New Trier High School. First on the scoreboard as the visitors in the contest, the Commandos of Chicago Marshall. Their record before this game at 28 wins and 2 losses. The Commandos are coached by Dorothy Gators in her 14th year at the school with a record of 387 wins and 30 losses. Assistant coach Al Williams. And the players for Chicago Marshall. Number 4, a 5'4" sophomore, Julia Humphrey. Number 5, a 5'7" freshman, Tiffany McNeil. Number 10, a 5'9" senior, Lynetta White. Number 15, a 5'7" sophomore, Jewel Brinson. Number 22, a 5'8" sophomore, Monica Smith. And number 25, a 6'2" freshman, Herolanda Thigpen. And now the starting lineup for Chicago Marshall. At 1 forward, number 14, a 5'9" senior, Rita Hale.
Rita averages 18 points a game.
At the other forward, number 20, a 5'6" freshman, LaShonda Price.
Important on the defensive board.
At center, number 21, a 6'1" senior, LaTanya Foster.
Foster averages 24 points and 12 rebounds a game.
At one guard, number 23, a 5'9" junior, Kenya Pittman.
Pittman with 28 points in the Public League title game.
And at the other guard, number 11, a 5'5" junior, Sabrina Harris.
The point guard important on their trapping press.
The Commandos of Chicago Marshall. And now, let's meet the Trevians of New Trier High School in Winnetka. Their record coming into the contest, 32 wins and 2 losses. The Trevians are coached by John Schneider, a career record of 583 wins and 232 losses. In his 8th year as girls coach at the school, with a record of 178 wins and 50 losses. Assistant coaches are Tony Shinto and Susan Lind. And now let's meet the Trevians. Number 10, a 5'2" senior, Allison Smith. Number 12, a 5'7" sophomore, Meredith Thornton. Number 14, a 5'5" senior, Karen Eulenhope. Number 30, a 5'8" junior, Molly Hoffman. Number 33, a 5'8" senior, Ann Fowler. Number 34, a 5'6" sophomore, Jenny Johnson. And number 40, a 5'10" junior, Lisa Larson. And now the starting lineup for New Trier. At 1 forward, number 32, a 5'9" senior, Liz Richards.
Strong rebounder, averaging 8 points a game.
At the other forward, number 35, a 5'9" junior, Heather Leahy.
One of the best players in the tournament, 19 in the quarterfinals.
At center, number 52, a 6'2" senior, Trish Andrew.
Averages 22 points a game on the season.
At one guard, number 53, a 5'11" senior, Carrie Remanowski.
Outside and inside, a great player with 14 a game.
And at the other guard, number 11, a 5'6" senior, Sharon Waller.
Quick hands and good defensively.
And the officials for our contest, Roger Campbell of Centralia and Gene Jordan of O'Fallon.
We'll be back at the Assembly Hall for the championship game. Now this from one of your network sponsors, Country Companies. We're set for the championship game in AA as New Trier takes on John Marshall, the Commandos. The officials in tonight's game, Roger Campbell of Centralia on the left, Gene Jordan of O'Fallon on the right. In the white, New Trier trimmed in their blue and green. Marshall in the maroon trimmed in gold. 6'2", Trish Andrew in the middle against Tony Foster, 6'1". Well, Coach, everybody else is predicted.
Well, my players think Marshall, but we hope New Trier because they're in our league.
All right. The ball starts with Marshall, and they get running right away to Rita Hale. There's Tony Foster inside. Rebound on the weak side. Up and in, Hale, and Marshall draws first blood.
Rita Hale is just a great rebounder on the weak side board. They really have to keep her off.
And here's the trap. Marshall likes to run, trap, and run some more. Waller in the front. Trish Andrew comes out to help, and that's Romanowski. Inside Andrew.
When they bring the ball down the court on that trap, they're going to have to go to the other side. That's where Foster is, and that's the best side for Marshall to trap on.
23 is Kenya Pittman, very important scorer for the Commandos. Playing out at the top right now. And Trier plays defense against Tony Foster, and Trish Andrew pulls it down. They call her Miss Inside, and there's Romanowski they call Miss Outside. But she's big. She's 5'11" or more. There's Andrew inside on the block. Powerful inside player, puts New Trier in the lead by a deuce. The Commandos lost to Maine West and to Whitney Young, and that's it.
And New Trier is in their man-to-man right now.
They scored 110 points 3 different times. They can move the ball up and down the floor. They play behind Tony Foster inside, and that'll be a penalty.
Tony Foster turns that way better than she goes the other way, so Trish needs to play a little bit on that inside side.
Playing out at the point there, LaShonda Price, just a freshman. They go to the high post to Andrew, and now she peels down to get the ball back. Look at her turn right again, just like you called it. Foster rebound.
That's what we try to do with both those players because they like to go that way, and so we tried to stop them from going to the right and force them to the left, and it did slow them down a little bit, but they're awful tough.
Pittman at 5'9" outside. They go back into Foster. They're going to try to make her stop that. There's Hale on the baseline, up and down, and the rebound comes off to Heather Leahy.
That's the high-low game that Marshall runs in there, and they do that a lot, try and go inside, outside. New Trier will do the same thing.
In the middle, Romanowski, too. Well, we started with shooting that's warm.
They're both good shooters.
It's a team that shoots 50%, New Trier. 64 from the free throw line on the season. 5.5 to play opening quarter. Here's a traveling violation as Rita Hale moved to the goal. This Dorothy Gators, who won the state championship in 82, 32-0. In 85, 30-1.
This Marshall's trying to run their 1-3-1 trap here at the half court.
Ooh, and they do it successfully. Look at Tony Foster, the speed.
You really cannot throw cross-court passes against Marshall, and that's one thing that we learned, and we were successful by never doing that.
Look at the field goal shooting, Coach.
They're hot at the beginning.
Each team with 4 tries at the basket. Romanowski plays a lot of help in the backcourt.
And once you beat Marshall's press, they'll take it off.
Waller's out at the point. There's Leahy, lobs inside to Andrews. Watch her go around. Up and down again. Trish Andrew. He's got New Trier in the lead, 8-4. And I guess they'd be the favorite coming into this game. Here's the shot on the move by Sabrina Harris. She's down, and it's 5-on-4 the other way. Waller goes ahead to Leahy, who's open for the pop that goes.
Heather Leahy's been a surprise of the tournament, and she's the one that did us in with some of her play, and she also did Tinley Park in, so she's really come through for them when they needed it.
There's Dorothy Gators. Sabrina Harris, her guard, went down on the other end. It looks like she might have twisted an ankle, Coach. Take a look at it. There's Harris. Goes up. Oh,
yeah, you can really see it turn.
Yeah.
I hope she's okay. She's not a scorer for them, but she's a key ball handler, and she plays the point for them when Kenya's not there.
There's Dorothy Gators. Dorothy is a DePaul graduate, class of 69, and she's going to have to get probably someone off the bench, and if so, it might be Monica Smith. There is no indication yet what she's going to do, and there's time out on the court while the trainer takes a look. There's John Schneider and the Trevians. What do you think about the early going? Is this like you expected it?
I think so. What New Trier likes to do is they like to give the ball to Trish at the high post. She likes to dish it out and then give it right back to her. And Marshall's not reacting quickly. They think once she gives the ball up, she's going to be okay. But she goes right back to the basket and they give it to her. And that's what they've done all year. And New Trier's game plan is probably to get the ball to her. That's what they've done all year. So
there's Sabrina Harris, coach, and we might take a look one more time as she took the ball all the way. She attacked the basket with the ball on the drive. Here she comes. Look at the good D.
She's a little off balance when she came down, and the foot just kind of slipped there and then gave way and turned.
Excellent look at that. And she's up and walking. She's hobbling. New Trier has come out smoking with 5 of the first 7 shots in the game, and Trish Andrew has an early 6 points.
Yeah, Trish and Carey have kind of taken over the game, and Heather Leahy hit that nice basket too. So those are the 3 main scorers that they have.
Been asked to announce that New Trier's Trevians will be returning home after the game. Should be arriving in Winnetka about 9. A welcome home celebration will take place in the main gym at 8:30, and all members of the community are invited to attend and join the festivities. 4:25 first quarter. New Trier over Marshall by 6. LaShonda Price lobs inside and out of bounds.
That's a little bit of freshman inexperience there with the lob. It's hard to lob over Trish Andrew.
The girls players get bigger and more skilled every year.
They really do. They start playing younger and they start seeing the other girls that have played, and it's going to get tougher and tougher to win unless you have a solid 5 players.
Outside, Liz Richards is 32 on the left wing. They exchange the ball. Marshall sinking, trying to keep Trish Andrew from getting it in there. They pushed her out on the floor a little bit. A whistle, 3-second violation on the Trevian.
Looks like what Marshall's trying to do is almost boxing one on Carrie Ramanowski, and we did that a little bit earlier in the year too, and she's their main ball handler outside most of the time, so it's a good tactic.
Coach Dave Power of Immaculate Heart called Ramanowski the heart and soul of the Trevian team.
She's not only a player, she's an outstanding kid, and she's going to be going to Holy Cross, so she's going to be playing basketball now too.
Tony Foster, a nice move to the glass. Rebound, Andrew. Waller went on the fly pattern. They saw her late, still got her the ball. She's inside, got it.
That's their favorite play. We had to send someone back with her all the time because they just get the ball and she's loose down there. She's really fast.
Now Marshall needs to answer. They're down 8. We don't want New Trier to get too far ahead. Here's another lob inside by Price, and this one's picked off by Heather Leahy.
So they've got a lot of inexperience out there now, and they need to have Kenya Pittman handling the ball out in front.
Waller goes in, and Ramanowski on a pop from the foul line that rolls off. Hale rebounds. Don't forget tonight, number 1 in the state in A against number 2, Shiloh and Tutopolis for the state championship. We'll be on the air at 8 o'clock. LaShonda Price, only a freshman, playing in the Assembly Hall in the title game. Tony Foster steps in along the baseline.
That's the high-low game that they like to run. They have one inside, one outside, and they just go from the inside back down low to Tony, or Tony will go right to Rita. And they do a lot of scoring on that.
Foster in the semifinals, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 5 steals, 3 blocks.
Yeah, they're definitely in a boxing one right now, too. They're playing all over the court with LaShonda Price is chasing Ramanowski around. So it means Waller's got to handle the ball out at the point, and that's not going to help New Trier that much.
2:21 in the first quarter. Now a whistle and a timeout on the court. We'll be back at the Assembly Hall in a moment. New Trier's in the lead. Let's take timeout for one of your network sponsors, the Illinois Pork Producers. .221 to play, opening quarter. New Trier in the lead, as you can see, and John Schneider all the way back in 1962 won a boys state championship at Decatur. He was only 27 years old. As we said, field goal percentage is very good for New Trier. Marshall not bad at 43.
And New Trier staying in their man-to-man defense.
Here's Pittman. Let's see if she can get involved in the offense. She swirls to the right, goes baseline for 2.
Heather Leahy is going to have a hard time playing Kenya Pittman man-to-man. She just doesn't have as quick of feet, and Kenya really can go to the basket.
Speaking of quick, there's Sharon Waller. Lobs it inside. Waller relied upon for a lot of steals and getting out on that fly pattern on this that we talked about.
Well, that might look like it just happened, but that's design. They do that all the time, and she scores probably 80% of her points on that particular fly pattern.
Here's Carrie Romanowski, a long three. And by a long three, I meant that wasn't just near the line. That was 5 or 6 feet back of it.
Yeah, she can shoot those, though. It's definitely not out of her range.
She hit 2 threes against Immaculate Heart in that game, and she's a 50% field goal shooter.
She's real tough out there.
You can tell Marshall's very conscious of her being able to control a game for minutes at a time.
Yeah, that's why they went to that box and one, I'm sure.
Kenya Pittman slides to the left. Now she tries. Left it short. Romanowski, there's Waller up ahead of the pack. She's free and goes all the way for the layup. And a foul. Monica Smith, who came in for the injured Sabrina Harris, picked it up.
Yeah, they're going to have to send someone back. My kids call her BMW because she's so fast. She really motors. And it caused us a lot of problems trying to press her because you have to send someone back with her, and we couldn't get up on the press like we really wanted to. And Marshall's probably having that same problem.
5'6", senior, 54% foul shooter. Actually shoots better from the field. You can tell shoots a lot of those layups.
Yeah, she's it really improved her free throws, though. This year she's really come on and hit them when it counted. So
a 7-point New Trier lead, 1:08 to go, opening stanza. High post Romanowski on D, and Pittman goes against her. Tony Foster gets the ball easily, and Andrew rebounds. Relatively easy shot for Tony Foster.
Yeah, she just didn't square up to the basket and didn't really jump that high.
Marshall not quite in sync yet with their game. Haven't had a run, a momentum.
No, they have to get a lot of steals and transition baskets if they're really going to get into the flow, and they haven't done that yet. New Trier's doing a good job with that.
Liz Richard, a long one-hander. Richards missed, and Marshall pushes the ball up the court. Kenya Pittman like the tempo up. Foster gets out to the high post. Look at this, a 1-4 offensive set.
Yeah.
Go low to Foster, off Andrew's hand.
I think Tony Foster's more of a back-to-the-basket player, and Trish Andrew likes to face up, and she's really a lot better shooter, but Tony's a lot better athlete, so it's really a good confrontation in there.
5'10", Lisa Larson, a junior. Number 40 checks in for the Trevians. Oh, nice play to Rita Hale, the inbounds. And it's a 15-10 New Trier lead. They'll probably take one.
They're still in their box and one.
Still haunting Romanowski. Andrew turns, 7 seconds. Andrew shoots with 5. Good. Now Marshall might get a long one. At 2, at 1, they do. Would have counted if it went. It didn't at the end of 1. New Trier is in the lead, 17-10. We'll be back after this from one of your network sponsors, John Deere. Quarter. Many famous alumni have come through that school, including people like Ann Margaret and Bruce Dern and Senator Chuck Percy and Charlton Heston and Don Rumsfeld. They've turned out a lot of people who've gone on to great success and national fame. Trish Andrew in the middle, working for the ball on the low block. She loves to get that ball down there, posted up.
See, they'll give it to her high, and then she'll slide right back down, and you just really have to stay with her.
Romanowski likes to look for the shot. Carries a 5'11" senior. Inside, Lisa Larson snuck in there.
Still boxing one.
Trish Andrew blocked by Foster nicely, but Larson picks it back up to Romanowski for the one-hander. Carrie Romanowski, the 9-point New Trier lead. You get the impression Marshall, coach, can hit you with flurries of points with their defense.
They can, but they have to make the steals, and so far they're not doing that. So transition is important to them, and they're not getting the transition baskets.
Let's take a look at how the stats looked at the end of that first quarter of play. Maybe they'll tell us something. Rebounds in favor of New Trier, as you can see.
Yeah, New Trier is really dominating the boards.
7-4. They got 3 more shots, made 8 of 14, sizzling Marshall 5-11. Turnovers just about equal 3 for Marshall. No free throw attempts by the Commandos, only 1 for New Trier. So New Trier shooting in the early going is the advantage. Here's the ball loose on the floor, and a walking violation turns the ball over to Marshall.
There's a problem. Trish Andrew gets most of her assists from Kerry Ramanowski, and they're denying Ramanowski the ball, and other people have to try and get it to her, and they don't pass the ball like Kerry does.
Marshall turned out some famous alumni too. Remember Darryl Stingley, who played in the NFL. Kelvin Upshaw, who's with the Miami Heat in the NBA. Janet Harris, who played here as a pro in Italy playing basketball.
They've had outstanding girl basketball players. The talent that they've had is amazing, and a lot of them have gone on to play in college, and they're just really good.
Take a look at this as Waller gets her hand.
Or she got a nice elbow there, too, didn't she?
She did.
Kenya's tough.
Kenya Pittman really took a shot there. Comes right back. Now inside Foster. And missed the shot in close. 19-12 is New Trier's lead, and they have the ball. We're in the first half, second quarter. Just over 6 minutes to play. Waller doesn't shoot much.
She won't shoot a whole lot from out there. She's not a real good outside shooter, but she'll take a few.
Romanowski picked that one off. They're not guarding her from anything about 15 feet on in. There's Lisa Larson on the turnaround one-hander that rolls off, and it's all Marshall on the boards, but Tony Foster dropped it out of bounds. Tough break for the Commandos.
Slipped right off her hands. Lisa Larson is their sixth person, and she's a real aggressive rebounder. She'll junior be back next year, but she does a nice job for them coming in off the bench.
She's number 40 out high there, and she's free at the foul line. Doesn't go. Tony Foster, Latanya Foster, 6'1" senior center, gets the ball. Monica Smith is 22 now. Out at the point is Pittman. Marshall being very patient offensively. They run their pattern with LaShonda Price on the top. Tony Foster tries to get free. She's bumping in there with Larson.
Another big key for New Trier is that they've cut Kenya Pittman's penetration way down, and if they can cut that down, she's not going to be as effective. She's a good shooter, but she doesn't shoot on the move a lot. So
maybe Rita Hale can get a shot against Waller inside too. It looked like she was open a couple of times.
Rita Hale is a good inside player, but she's not going to shoot it from outside very much either. So
she had 15 in the semifinals, 5 of those free throws.
A lot of rebounds probably and a lot of layups.
Pittman. Lob way inside, intended for Foster. She was double teamed in there. The Trevians come out with the ball. Waller on the scoop. All the way. Yes. Sharon Waller has ignited New Trier to a 9-point lead.
You know, I laid awake at nights worrying about Waller doing this to us.
As Waller scores, she'll also go to the foul line, and for Marshall, they get number 11.
Sabrina Harris is back in the game.
Sabrina Harris,
be okay.
The starter. That's good news for Marshall. Free throw by Waller is down. Waller's not only good on that driving layup, she's quick defensively and very good there. 22-12, New Trier.
She's doing a real good job on Kenya.
Harris showing no signs of that injury. Foster to the glass.
That's what Foster has to do because she's a lot quicker than Trish, and Trish comes up on her. She can go around her.
Coach Foster, a preseason high school All-American.
Yeah, she's a tremendous player, and she's been tough for a lot of years. I'm glad she's graduating.
Imagine that skill, and number 1 in her class. Yeah, she blocked that shot but got a part of Trish Andrews.
Yeah. Dorothy Gators is very proud of the fact that she's number 1 in her class and has passed all the requirements to go to school. So she's a great kid, too.
Here's Andrews squaring up nicely. There's the shot. Ooh, just on the hands.
Boy, that's a tough call.
Trish Andrews is a 68% foul shooter, 6'2", 17-year-old senior. And she gets not only 22 points a game, but she gets nearly 10 rebounds a game.
Yeah, she's good. She's a shooter. She really is. She's come on so far this year. Last year she was a good player, but she's improved tremendously over the last summer and into the school year this year.
9-point lead. Marshall tries to cut into it. Pittman goes all the way in. She's free, and she got it down. Nice drive, Kenya Pittman. 7-point game. There's a high lob. There's one of those steals we were talking about.
They get a basket off if they can convert.
Their defense makes it transition. Hale makes it 2.
That's what they need, conversions off the steals and the transition game. And if they do that, they're going to be awful tough.
You know, they get going like that against their defense. That can be like being in a blender if you're on the other side. They just swirl around the ball.
Oh, they are awfully quick.
3:40 to play the first half. Frank Bassoni along with Coach Darrell Kipp of Maine West here in the championship game of AA. New Trier and Marshall. Trish Andrew on the move. Nice rebound. Kenya Pittman, she's going to push the ball up the floor. 3-on-3 Pittman. He missed a layup. And she got all alone and committed a frustrating foul.
Right, and that's going to hurt them because that's their second, I believe, and they need her in a ball game.
Watch Kenya Pittman push the ball up, Coach.
Here she comes, and just a loss of concentration a little bit on the spin there. And she makes that foul.
For New Trier, 35 Heather Leahy back in the game, the starter, and returned to the game.
Right, they've changed their press now from a 1-3-1 trap. They're in a 2-1-2 trap.
Boy, Foster anticipated that. Stole it again. Third steal by Marshall in 4 trips. And Waller tried to get it back and does.
Rita just a little lackadaisical on that pass, but they had Tony right back inside.
The official pointed one direction and called the other and just corrected himself, so Marshall keeps the ball.
That's the right call, so that's what he should have done.
The coaches bounced off the bench real quickly there. Here it goes into Foster. Double teamed and stolen by Heather Leahy.
I don't think they're going to be able to lob the ball in. They're going to have Tony moving around and getting the ball off the remove instead of standing there trying to get a lob.
Leahy's free. Romanowski tipped at the rebound. It comes out to Heather. Romanowski tries to free herself and can't. We're down to 2:40. Trish Andrew planted herself in the lane and drilled it.
See, she cut to the ball and got it instead of trying to get a lob, and that's the difference between what Marshall's doing and New Trier's doing right now.
6 turnovers for the Commandos, 5 for New Trier. Pittman loads up and drills it. Kenya Pittman.
That's their one outside shooting threat, and she can nail those.
25-20 there. 2:15 to go, second quarter. Waller barges down the lane, and they kick it back out.
Now she'll kick it off. Watch her go right to the basket. Tony recovered well there to stop her, but that's what they want to do. They want to go inside, outside, and back inside.
Romanowski free for the deuce. And I can't let her shoot about a 13-footer unmolested.
She stands there, and she's a good shooter.
Rita Hale gets on the move for the Commandos. They play kind of an interchangeable group. Hale will be playing outside, then she goes back inside. Price comes out to the wing, then goes back down low.
Yeah, that's their offense. It's kind of a motion-type offense that they're trying to run, but their main game is to get it inside.
Now we have a timeout with 1:51 to go in the first half. New Trier is in the lead, and we'll be back in a moment. Let's pause for these messages. You're looking at the Assembly Hall in Champaign-Urbana, and Coach John Schneider took New Trier to Welsh Ryan Arena at Northwestern to practice. He said he wanted them to practice in the big arena.
Well, I'll tell you, the difference in the length of the floor is amazing here. The 10-feet difference makes a big difference. In fact, the first year we were downstate, I didn't know that, and our kids were just a step behind, so it makes a big difference.
In front court scoring, Marshall in the lead just by 1, 14-13. They're down 7 in the game.
Right.
Here's Kenya Pittman bouncing into the lane and putting it down.
I'll tell you something, Marshall is a second-half team. I've seen it 4 or 5 times this year. They really play a lot tougher in the second half, so New Trier needs to keep their composure here and keep their lead.
And Marshall, of course, only down 5, so anybody's game in the title go here.
Right.
Near steal, but Romanowski picks it back off and goes baseline to Richards. Both teams being patient on the offense. There's Trish Andrew missing. She didn't follow her shot. Pittman has the ball. The Commandos on the fly. Harris. Inside Foster.
Sabrina Harris won't shoot it unless she has an open layup, and she looked for Tony, and there she was.
2 quick buckets by Marshall puts the score within 3.
That's a transition conversion again.
Leahy's alone, eyes it up. New Trier a little cold the last couple times, and now it's Marshall. Marshall's got the tempo back up. Hale is 14 on the baseline, backs up. Now Marshall sets 1-4. 1-2-2, they exchange.
They're going to try and hold the ball for the last shot now.
You like this?
Well, they figure if they can go down 2 down, they'll be better than if they give. Well,
Pittman swirls in and banks it home. It's a 1-point game.
Yeah, Tony Foster got the ball inside, and that's just as good as waiting, I guess.
You see the clock, lower right-hand corner, 20-19, first half. New Trier by 1. Will they go for 1?
They're straight man-to-man right now.
Waller holds. That's Liz Richards. Where will they go with the ball? They try to bust it inside to Andrew. That's Romanowski. It rolls no good at 3. Marshall has it at 2. They get the shot off at 1. It'll count, but it's too short. And that's the end of the first half at the Assembly Hall in the Class AA championship game. It's what we thought it might be. The Trevians 27, Marshall 26. Now this from one of your network sponsors, Country Company. Frank Bissoni along with Coach Darrell Kipp of Maine West back at the end of the first half. New Trier in the lead, 27-26. And Coach, what's your impressions of the first half?
I think a little bit what happened to Marshall when Sabrina Harris got hurt. Some people were handling the ball that really threw the ball away a few times for him, and it made a big difference. New Trier played very well with a lot of composure, and then about the last 3 minutes of the half, New Trier took some shots on the run and didn't work the ball as well as they had. And I think what happened is Marshall started converting because they were getting the rebounds and getting the ball on court quickly. So New Trier's got to be a little more patient and get a little bit better shots.
If you had one thing to tell the viewers to watch for in the second half, how this game might turn, what would it be?
It's probably got to be Kenya Pittman. She's gonna dictate what's going to happen in this game. If she can penetrate and draw fouls and get the ball down the floor, it's the key to the whole game. And
okay, we'll look forward for that. But right now, we're going to have the presentation of the 3rd and 4th place awards in the AA. And for that, public address announcer Rick Atterbury.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to midcourt for the presentation of the 3rd and 4th place team and individual awards for the 1989 Girls Class AA State Basketball Tournament. Presenting medallions to the squad members of the 4th place team will be Mrs. Lynn St. James of King High School in Chicago, who serves the IHSA as director, and Mr. Leroy Newton of Carterville High School in Carterville, who serves the IHSA as vice president. At this time, please meet the Lady Maroons of Moline, who finished the 1989 season in 4th place with a final record of 29 wins and 4 losses. First, meet the superintendent of Moline High School, Mr. Richard Hennigan. Head coach Kelly Wynn. Assistant coach Bob Seitz. And the players, number 11, Kelly Myers. Number 13, Pam Sizemore. Number 15, Heather Hudson. Number 23, Angie Anderson. Number 25, Amy Stuhler. Number 31, Michelle Westerdale. Number 33, Stacy Paller. Number 41, Renee Carlson. Number 45, Ann Lawson. Number 51, Tasha Brown. Number 53, Monica Fallon. Number 55, Michelle Rogiers. And Kim Decker. Shelley Allstedt. And Shelby Tigler. And now, presenting medallions to the squad members of the 3rd place team will be Mr. Ed Roberts of Oak Forest High School, who serves the IHSA as director, and Ms. Shar Bremberg, who serves the IHSA as assistant executive secretary. At this time, please meet the Fighting Tigers of Immaculate Heart of Mary of Westchester, who finished the 1989 season in 3rd place with a final record of 30 wins and 3 losses. First, to meet the principal of Immaculate Heart of Mary High School, Dr. Elaine Schuster. Head coach Dave Power. Assistant coach Tom Phelan. Athletic director John Olson. Manager Jenny Burns. And the players, number 35, Lachey King. Number 31, Jennifer Dimoff. Number 14, Jennifer Layden. Number 10, Heidi Roseby. Number 34, Beth Carlton. Number 21, Melody Savage. Number 20, Jenny Murphy. Number 44, Katie Clifford. Number 12, Candace Ward. Number 24, Stacy Patrincio. Number 25, Shelley Zalis. Number 15, Kara Fry. And number 22, Chris Mascala. And now, presenting the fourth place trophy will be Mr. Levere Astroth, who serves the IHSA as the executive secretary. Will Coach Kelly Wynn and the captains of Moline High School please step forward to receive their fourth place trophy. Mr. Astroth, if you please. And Mr. Astroth will also present the third place trophy. Will Coach Dave Power and the captains of Immaculate Heart of Mary High School please step forward to receive the third place trophy. Mr. Astroth, if you please.
Both.
Our third and fourth place winners in the Class AA High School Tournament.
Congratulations to Moline, fourth in the AA, and Immaculate Heart of Mary, third. And we'll turn our attention back to the halftime score, which is 27-26 in favor of New Trier, Coach. You know, Coach John Schneider says that last night after the game, he told the girls, no boys, we're going to have some pizza and get some sleep and rest up for today. What do you suppose he told them at halftime of this game?
I think John is probably just trying to get them to settle down and take the shots that they need to do to win the game, and they're right in it. They just have to remain calm and not panic a little bit.
Well, we'll take a look at that second half coming right up in a moment, but right now, let's take time out from one of your network sponsors, the Illinois Pork Producers. At the end of one quarter, New Trier was in the lead by 7, but Marshall closed with a 16-10 second period advantage to a 1-point halftime lead for New Trier. I'm Frank Bissoni along with Coach Darrell Kipp of Maine West, and you know, John Schneider also says he's got an offense that says it's only Ramanowski or Andrew will shoot, and I want to ask you about that in a moment. But first, let's take a look at the team stats in this first half. Notice anything? Look at this. 24 shots for New Trier. They made half of them. Marshall got 3 less, but they're shooting 62%. Not a free throw for the Commandos.
Right.
3 out of 4 for New Trier on free throwing. 11 rebounds to 9. Pretty close, but New Trier in the lead. Relatively equal on the turnovers. Marshall 6-5.
That's why the game's so close, because those stats are so close. And I think what's happening is Marshall just got a few more layups than New Trier going down the floor. But it's a close game, and that's the way it's probably going to be the rest of the way.
New Trier was led in scoring by Trish Andrew, as you can see, with 11. And she had 5 rebounds in the first half. Nobody in foul trouble. Sharon Waller, 8 points in uncharacteristic high scoring. The breakaways, Romanowski held to 6. Leahy with 2.
Key for Marshall is to keep Waller from getting those easy layups down the floor, and if they do that, then the scoring is going to just balance us off a little bit more.
LaTanya Foster, the leading scorer for Marshall, with a dozen leading scorer in the game. Kenya Pittman had 8, and Kim Hale, the 3 we anticipated that would score, would do exactly that. And you know, when it comes down to a second half for a state championship and there's 1 point separating 2 teams, that's when I think that John Schneider might go to that offense. He says he has one that's called nobody shoots but Trish Andrew and Romanowski. Will we see that?
I've seen that before. Why would you want anybody else to shoot when they're so good? I think that probably what's going to happen is he's going to use them a lot in the second half, but the key is going to be either Waller or Leahy getting those easy baskets.
Well, we're set with the alternating possessions. The ball will belong to Marshall. They're 1 down, and psychologically you keep hearing over and over in any basketball broadcast, you hear how important the first few minutes of the second half are. Do you subscribe to that?
It sets the tempo, and it's going to be a little important in this one. But remember, Marshall is a second half team.
What do you mean by that? They just turn up the intensity level?
They really do. They can really come at you in the second half, and they don't have many fouls, so they can put a lot of pressure on, and they just seem to rise to that occasion.
Nobody in foul trouble in this game. And so we're set. A half of basketball. One of them will win the most cherished prize in high school sports, the state championship. Kenya Pittman starts to put Marshall in the lead.
Their New Trier opens in their man-to-man, and they're over-guarding her to the right, but Kenya Pittman goes to the left, so that's a mistake really for New Trier.
Waller goes all the way in and is called for traveling. She had a fine first half with 8 points and 4 assists.
Right.
And now New Trier extends pressure to the full court.
Well, they're going to come after him a little bit, I guess. See, it's just token pressure, really. They're just going to try and stay with him man-to-man. But
Kenya Pittman called on to handle the ball for the Commandos.
New Trier cannot press Marshall, so that'd be playing right into their hands.
They're looking inside as Hale is posted up. There's that high-low post. Hale is low. She turns.
There'll be quickness against strength in there with Hale and Romanowski.
A wild shot by LaShonda Price comes down in the hands of Romanowski. Inside, that's Andrew. She hasn't shot much lately. She got this rebound, though. She takes one dribble and fires.
She just rushed that one a little bit too much because Tony didn't get down the floor as fast as she should have, and Carrie had a lot more time than she thought she did.
Tony, of course, is Tony Foster, who has 12 points on 6 out of 10 shooting. 7 minutes, third quarter.
Just having Tony Foster around even worries Trish Andrew.
There's Foster inside. He uses the basket on the inside for 2.
Hey, there's those quick feet again getting around Trish.
Now Marshall's built its 3-point lead. New Trier led throughout much of the first half. And now they have to answer.
See, Marshall's come out playing straight man-to-man, too. It's interesting the defensive changes that the teams have had. Marshall's had about 5 different defensive changes, and New Trier has stayed basically with their man-to-man.
Leahy to Richards for the shot that doesn't go, and Foster rebounds, and Marshall has the momentum going. This is Harris. Harris finds Hale. Missed. Nice pass by Harris, but Hale couldn't get it to go down.
Well, that was important in the first half when she was out of the game, because Sabrina Harris really adds a lot of depth and a lot of experience to that lineup.
Romanowski's mismatched. She's guarded by Price, much smaller. Right there.
Right now it's going to end a Trish or Carrie shot. Romanowski or Andrew have got to take this shot. They got to get him right back in the ballgame so they don't get too far behind.
They're collapsing on Andrew. She's there. Holds it up and pops it. Romanowski rebounds, steps in, puts it up, and scores.
There you go.
And she's fouled. And that's that mismatch we were talking about. LaShonda Price, a 5'6" freshman, is no match on the inside for Romanowski, who's 5'11" or 6 feet.
Carrie went right to the board and put it right back up. But they're going to have to get some good shots from Romanowski or Andrew, or else they're going to get behind in this ballgame.
Well, if you're talking about their not being able to press, Marshall getting behind would be treacherous.
It would be tough.
Marshall. Now they're going to, the official score calls a referee over to ask a question. Checking on who the foul was on. It's on LaShonda Price of Marshall. Here's Carrie Romanowski.
Carrie's a deadly free throw shooter. I think she shoots about 80% for the year.
Yes, she does.
She's missing against us. I know that.
She puts it down. She had 17 points in that Sweet 16 win over Mount Prospect. It's a tie at 30. 9 points for Romanowski. Harris holds. New Trier man-to-man. trying to front Foster downstairs. They get it to Hale, slings it up from the side. No. Foster rebounds and is fouled. I thought for a hot second there was going to be an offensive foul on Foster because it looked like she dipped her shoulder as she made that turn.
Tony was a little out of control on that, and it could have very well been an offensive foul.
Called on Lisa Larson, 5'10" junior.
What do they say? The All-Americans always get the calls, and the young players don't get them.
Well, there's an All-American for you. 6'1", Tony Foster. 14 points, 5 rebounds so far in the game. Her contributions are always in big numbers.
She's a good free throw shooter, too. She missed that one, but she's an excellent free throw shooter.
Dorothy Gators, 386 and 30. Her run of wins and losses is staggering. You just look down, 29 and 1, 29 and 1, 30 and 3. It just goes on and on. Marshall in the lead. They're the only double-A team in the Elite 8 field this year that was here last year. Romanovsky pulls the trigger. Pittman fighting for the rebound, and she commits a foul.
That's a tough call. She had the inside position, and call went against her.
How are the calls different in girls basketball in high school and boys?
It's getting a lot more physical. It's getting to be more and more like the boys every day, but the officiating from area to area differs a little bit, but I think what happens a lot of times is the officials let them play inside more than they used to.
Third foul on Kenya Pittman is a very important factor for Marshall, too. And that was number 3. Liz Richards tries to find somebody inside, and Tony Foster chopped down Trish Andrew.
That might have been a good place for a no call because they just kind of got tangled up.
Let's take a look at that and see. There's the entry pass.
See, they're both just moving for position, and could have been a good no call. New Trier had the ball anyway, so it didn't make a whole lot of difference.
No harm, no foul category. 5 minutes to play, third quarter. Marshall by 1. New Trier shoots for the lead in the state championship game. Don't forget, tonight we'll be back with the Class A title game. Can Tutopoulos win again? Shot by Terry Romanovsky's in, and New Trier takes the lead back.
Notice Romanovsky twice went to the baseline side on that. That's the way she likes to go, too.
She has 11 in the game. I like Pittman. She's really got a lot of aggressiveness to her.
There's the penetration.
Nice move inside to Foster. And that's a two-player game that's very effective.
Her penetration is going to be a key for Marshall here. She can get the inside penetration and dish off. She's tough.
17 for Tony Foster. Now Trish Andrew turns the other way and nails it. Once again, New Trier by 1. The lead exchanges hands. This is building to something, you can really tell it.
Yeah, it's going to be right down to the wire, I think.
Pittman moves right to left. Foster comes out. There's 3 players that do most of the shooting for Marshall: Hale, Pittman, and Foster. The other 2 are role players, and every team needs role players.
All right, that's the most important thing on a basketball team is the kids that don't score but do the other things for you.
There's Hale on the inside. Marshall back in front. The Public League on one side, the Central Suburban Conference on the other.
Okay, now what are they in? They're throwing their man-to-man.
Waller being hounded there by Harris. Romanovsky always on the move without the ball. Sign of a good player. Andrew pull up. It's there. But she got the friendly roll.
She's a great face-up shooter. You can't let her have that.
She squares her body to the basket really well. New Trier, as you see, takes the lead back on the 15th point by Trish Andrews. Harris calls a play. Remember the famous Janet Harris that played at Marshall?
Oh, yeah, who can forget her?
About 6'2" or 3", center, great player. She was very, very strong. Sabrina Harris tries the shot. Rebound on the floor. New Trier has it, Andrew. Now New Trier has a chance to take a 3-point lead.
You know, see how patient they are.
Foster slices at the ball. No. Now a whistle with 2:37 to play. Third quarter, there's a timeout. With the score, New Trier 36 and Marshall 35. We'll be back after this from one of your network sponsors, John Deere. third quarter of the state AA championship game in girls basketball. Frank Bissoni and Coach Darrell Kipp of Maine West. We've really had a battle in the center position. Tony Foster for Marshall, 17 points and 5 rebounds. Trish Andrew, New Trier, 15 points and 8 rebounds.
Yeah, that's what I expected. It's going to be determined by a couple of the other kids on the floor who's going to win this game. They're kind of a standoff.
Romanowski is one of them. And you see the field goals exactly even, the dead heat in the second half. Nice rebound, Kenya Pittman. Marshall looks to run. Harris catches it on the fly. Another nice catch.
They just gave it to the wrong person there. They want to get the ball to Tony or Rita.
Monica Smith caught the ball nicely but couldn't get the shot off. And New Trier keeps the ball with the lead. There's Trish Andrew posting up again. It's good again. Trish Andrew, big time player. Under 2 minutes, third quarter. There's the zone. It's packed in pretty well, Coach.
Yeah, they're really in a 1-3-1, but it looks like a 2-3.
Pittman's now on the baseline. Look at her get herself free for the shot. Partially blocked. The whistle and the jump ball on our alternating possession will be to New Trier. I would imagine pretty soon it's going to get tough for coaches to follow one of the rules, that bench decorum, where you have to stay seated.
Well, there's nothing to get up and yell about.
No. After all, this is only for a title. This is only some of these people have dreamed about for years, maybe a lifetime. Romanowski off the window.
Inside, outside, same thing. Down low, high, low game.
New Trier by 5. Carrie Romanowski with 13. And now Marshall must answer this. 112, lower right-hand corner. That's in the third quarter. Marshall surprises when you see them. They play either very patient, they set their offense to run it, or they can explode out and run. Their defense is the key.
It is the key. You've got New Trier's back in their 1-3-1, and the diagonal pass is going to be open down on the baseline if they see it.
Look at that shot. They set that offense. Tony Foster at the high post, 21, wants the ball. Look at Waller slide back and front her. Defenses like to front people on the low block. There's a steal by Waller. The quick hands with a half a minute, and she comes in on the move and is fouled by Sabrina Harris. So the Trevians defense has turned up a notch, and it's really helped them.
Probably a good foul. You know, last year in the game we played Marshall, that 52-51 game, our 1-3-1 trap really gave Marshall some trouble, and John's probably watched that tape, and that's what they're in right now, and they made this key steal.
Well, not only the players have improved in girls basketball, but certainly the coaching has, and these teams are well prepared, well drilled, and they work all year at their game.
Yeah, they play all summer, and they really prepare well during the season, and not only that, but they're in great condition.
You have a summer conditioning program?
Most of the schools in the Chicago area play in the Maine West Summer League, which is sponsored by the Sun-Times. We had over 1,000 people play there last summer, and teams came in from all over the United States to really play with us.
Take a look at this offense. There's Carrie Romanowski's shot, no. Marshall has the ball with 4 seconds, stolen back, anticipated. Up ahead is Harris, and 1 second, can't get it off. Tough break for Marshall as the clock wound down at the end of 3 quarters of play in our championship game. New Trier 40, Marshall 35. Now let's pause for these messages. WCCU, Springfield, Champaign, KHQA in Quincy, WCEE in Mount Vernon, WHOI in Peoria, WQRF Rockford, WSLI in Harrisburg, Sports Vision in Chicago, WQAD in Moline. We are glad you're joining us this afternoon and invite you to join us tonight at 8. Undefeated Shiloh, 30-0, goes against defending champion T-Town Teutopolis, 30-1 for the A championship. Now we're in the final quarter of the AA go. New Trier now leading Marshall 40-37. And this is the last quarter of basketball of the AA season.
And New Trier opened in their 1-3-1 zone, and they got the ball down inside to Tony, and now they go right back inside to Trish.
And Kenya Pittman rebounds, and Marshall can cut into the lead again. Marshall's Rita Hale goes all the way and scores, but it doesn't count traveling. Nice move by Rita Hale, but she got a little bit out of control there.
Yeah, that's the conversion basket they need, too.
Can you see the travel?
Hard to see, isn't it?
It is. Trish Andrew comes to help out.
And Marshall's going to extend their defense a little bit and put a little more pressure on.
Third quarter was a tight one, and the stats will show it. 40 shots for New Trier, made 19, 17 of 32 for Marshall. Still few free throws. New Trier 4 out of 5, 19 rebounds to 14 in favor of New Trier. Turnovers are even.
And New Trier played with a lot of composure in that third quarter, and that's the difference.
Romanowski sends it inside to Andrew, who dropped it. Pittman's got it. Marshall down 3. Harris flying left.
Well, Sabrina Harris probably should have taken that in or just pulled up and shot the ball. She tried to force it through that gap.
New Trier took that lead in the first quarter with 17. Marshall bounced back with 16 second quarter points. New Trier won the third. We're even now. And John Schneider says timeout on the court. 6:49 to play in the championship game. New Trier in the lead. And now this from one of your network sponsors, Country Company. 6:49 to go in this game. New Trier's in the lead, 40-37. And tonight, as we invited you, 8 o'clock we'll have the A championship game. Those 4 teams that will in the final 4 in A have combined records, 15 wins and 3 losses. So tonight it'll be T-Town and Shiloh. But right here, the first state championship crown of the day will go to one of these teams, and it's a 3-point game.
Yeah, and this is what you coach for, just to get to one of these last 6 minutes of the game. It's fun. I'm sure the two coaches are nervous, but they're having a lot of fun doing this.
Foster, 21 from Marshall, has 19 points. She has 6 field goals made in a row, and there's her with the ball now.
It's a 1-4 set. They try to go to Tony and then dump it down low to Rita.
That's Pittman at the top. She's really in control of the offense.
There's her high-low again.
They swing it.
That's their only outside shooter.
Right there, Pittman missed it. Rebound, Lisa Larson dropped it out of bounds. Marshall keeps the ball. So
comes down the floor. She puts the ball on the floor and stops. Rita Hale goes up and just gets a piece of the hand. Andrew's going to go to the line, and she's a good free throw shooter too, about 68% for the year.
68 it is. She lives in double figures and puts that one down. She's up to 2 out of 3 in free throw line. 8 for 16 from the field. Trish nails another one. New Trier 42 and Marshall 39. Still plenty of time.
And New Trier's back in their 1-3-1 zone again.
Obviously, Marshall likes to get the ball to Foster. There's Pittman outside, nails it. A 2, and it's a 1-point game to the wire for the state championship.
Yeah, they've got Liz Richards playing the baseline side, and she's got to get on the side with Kenya Pittman because Kenya's their only shooter.
Liz Richards just drilled one, and in the teeth of the game, counts. There's a big goal. Tony Foster.
There's a foul on Trish. She didn't quite get over on time.
They call it on Liz Richards.
Yeah, I guess it was inside. She got a hand in there.
And that's the first foul on Richards. Fouls have not been a problem. 21 in the game for Tony Foster. 5 of those at the free throw line. Here's the next. Foster pulls Marshall within 2.
Marshall's going to go with a diamond press now, just trapping all over.
There's a steal, and it goes out of bounds. New Trier has it, but they'll need composure now because Marshall will put the pressure on 94 feet.
Well, Tony's got such long arms. He jumps so high. It's even hard for Trish to get the ball in bounds.
He's going to throw it the distance. If she was going to throw it the length of the court, and it was tipped by Foster. And a tie-up. That'll be Marshall's ball.
What do they say, New Trier?
They have timeout, New Trier on the court. 3:53 to go in a 2-point game. The coaches want to talk it over. We'll be back after this from one of your network sponsors, John Deere. There are the centers. Trish Andrew to throw it in. Watch Tony Foster try to get a hand on it.
Yeah, she dropped her arm down a little bit and threw it. And you have to have somebody wide open to throw the ball that long on Marshall because they're quick enough to get back and cover. And that's what they did there.
And there's the tie-up. Okay, back to live action. New Trier with the ball. They lead by a deuce. 3:50 to play in the game for the title. Frank Tassoni and Coach Darrell Kipp of Maine West. Hope you're enjoying the action. Sharon Waller. Now it gets down to where everything is magnified. So important.
New Trier has to be patient here and get the ball inside to probably Carrie or Trish. Carrie's got LaShonda Price on her, she can't handle her inside.
Now Romanowski rolls down toward the inside. Now she wants Andrew, can't go there. Now does. She got a free from Foster for 2.
Now Tony went for the steal, missed it, and it cost her.
21 for Trish Andrew. New Trier by 4. Will Marshall answer? Dorothy Gators going for her third, a record third AA championship.
New Trier's in their 1-3-1, and
Foster got it up, and she got fouled by Andrew. You know, it seems that neither of these teams can stop the opposing center.
Well, what happened last time is Liz Richards was playing the baseline on that 1-3-1, and she went out to cover Kenya Pittman and left Tony Foster all alone with Andrew, and she got the ball down on a low block, and who can stop her on a low block when she's got that path to the basket?
Well, just to give you an idea of her ability, in the semifinals, 15 points and 9 rebounds, but also 5 steals and 3 blocks. That's a complete game.
Right.
There's John Schneider, 26 years in the business.
There's a lot of college coaches wondering where she's going to go right now.
A lot of them would like to have her. I'll tell you, 24 now for Foster. It's a 2-point game. New Trier needs to handle it. And the pressure's on. Sabrina Harris and Foster double team in the front. Somebody's free. Harris can't shoot this time. Romanowski wants to go back inside and can't there.
New Trier has to show their patience right here and get a good one.
Liz Richards. Notice how New Trier tries to hold the ball up and look over that defense. Clock winds toward 2:30 as you can see the overhead. Nice view of the play as it develops there, Coach.
Marshall staying right with them man-to-man. They still have LaShonda Price, the freshman, on Carrie Ramanowski, and somehow Carrie's going to get the ball down low.
Ramanowski now is on the weak side, away from the ball, coming up to the high post. She's against Price. There goes Waller on the move. It won't count. Foul was called first. Sharon Waller made a quick move to the goal and got it down, but you'll be able to see it. The foul is on Sabrina Harris.
All right, there she goes to the basket, and just a reach-in foul. Sharon gets that first quick step. She's around you.
She exploded by another quick player, Sabrina Harris. 8 points. Look at the scoring here. Andrew and Romanowski 21 and 15 with Waller on the line with 8, leading New Trier.
You notice Waller hasn't scored in this half yet.
Missed the free throw and Foster rebounds. Marshall shoots to tie.
It's a big possession because Marshall gets it here. New Trier's got to really show a lot of patience this close to the end of the game.
Hale
staying in there 1-3-1.
There's Foster breaking low. There's your clock. Under 2 minutes, as you can see. Marshall down 2. Hale holds.
They're definitely looking inside for Tony.
Foster tries to plant herself, and Andrew fronts her. This is LaShonda Price outside. What pressure for a freshman.
Kenya Pittman needs to get some penetration here to develop something because it's going to be hard to get the ball to Tony if they don't.
Kenya hasn't handled the ball much, now does, and shoots an outside shot, and Trish Andrew rebounds. Tries to clear it out, stolen by Marshall, jump ball. There was a war for the ball inside there, and it continues to be Marshall's.
Marshall needs to get some penetration or more movement because they're just standing and looking for Tony Foster, and New Trier knows it.
Foster is the leading scorer for Marshall in the game with 24. Pittman with 16 in the 3 personals. Rita Hale with 10. And with 122, 48 to 46. Coach, now what should we look for? What do the fans need to watch to what happens here?
Well, what's probably going to happen is New Trier's going to bring the ball in. They're going to try and work a high-low play from either Foster to Hale or Hale to Foster. New Trier gets the ball, they're going to come down and try and work it, and either going to go to Ramanowski or Andrew. But the thing that's going to happen really is defense is going to win this game.
Defense will win. That's Al Williams you're looking at there, the assistant to Dorothy Gators at Marshall. The assistants for New Trier, Tony Shinto and Susan Lynn, and Tony is the boys soccer coach there. I wonder this, at what point, if Marshall ties this game on a possession, At what point does New Trier decide to go for the last shot? There's 1:22 to play now.
I think New Trier, if the game's tied, will come down and work the ball till they get a good one. They've been in this position before, and they played under a lot of pressure in front of a lot of people, so they're going to keep their composure. It's just going to come down to maybe luck.
The clock and the score tell you the story. 1:22. Marshall 2 down with the ball. Pittman will trigger.
Uh-oh.
There's a bad pass, and Waller picks it off. Sharon Waller makes the play, and she's fouled by Kenya Pittman. And now free throw shooting is vital.
And that was great defense on that out-of-bounds play. They covered Foster and Hale, and that's where they wanted to go, and Pittman just threw the ball away.
There's Kenya Pittman, her 4th foul, a very vital player for the Commandos.
Here's Waller. She just missed her last free throw, and this is a big one.
Unusual style. Dips the ball very low. Missed it. Inside position. Rebounding is Foster. 1:15 in the game. New Trier up by 2. Marshall wants to tie on this possession.
How many overtimes do you want to go in this one?
We had 3 in the 3rd place game won by Immaculate Heart. By the way, each team has 2 times out. 4 timeouts.
Right. She walked.
Oh, a costly turnover for the Commandos. 2 times they don't get a shot.
She was looking inside for Rita Hale. They wanted to go that high-low that we talked about. Rita was covered, and she was up in the air and had nowhere to go but come down on the floor, and she walked.
A lot of pressure now, as you see the story. Less than a minute to play. Can New Trier hold on?
Trap.
Liz Richards. Who will they want to foul? Not Romanovsky, I wouldn't think.
You're going to want to foul Liz Richards or Sharon Waller.
There's Waller with the ball. She's missed 2 free throws in a row, and going for it was Pittman. That would have been her 5th foul if she'd have picked that one up. 40 seconds to play, as you see. New Trier in the lead, 48-46, and has the ball, melting the clock, hoping to make it a state champion. Here's the whistle and a foul. Liz Richards is fouled. And Richards, a 68% free throw shooter, with 28 seconds could give her team a big advantage. It'll be a 1 in bonus, and Dorothy Gators is going to freeze her. She's going to freeze her at the foul line. Liz Richards has got 4 points and a 68% foul shooter, and now, of course, her team leads, but these are very important.
Well, Liz has been real steady all year, and it's going to come down to the free throws and who's going to, convert at the end here.
Let's take a look at that last foul that put Richards on the foul line. There's Liz, 32.
Yeah, Rita Hale just reaches in to really create the foul so they can get the clock stopped and maybe get a chance to get the ball down on their end.
Now, let's clear up the rule on what an intentional foul is, Coach.
Well, you have to be going for the ball to be a real foul. If you don't, it's intentional foul, and it's not called very often, but near the end of the game, the referees look for it more than they do it in the middle of the game.
Marshall down to timeout number 1. New Trier still has 2 timeouts left. Well, I'll tell you, Benny Dees, who used to coach at New Orleans, said once, "My daddy told me there are 2 things in life that don't last: dogs that chase cars and teams that can't shoot free throws." And right here is a chance for Liz Richards with 4 points to do just that. The Assembly Hall clock.
When New Trier can shoot free throws, it's just a lot of pressure on kids right here.
They average 75 points a game. 64 at the foul line. A miss. Marshall can tie. 25 seconds to play. Marshall, 2 down. They want Foster or Pittman.
I think Pittman's going to have to do something here.
Here's Kenya Pittman. Barges into the lane and shoots. No. Rebound Pittman. She's got it back. She puts it up and in at 9 seconds. 8. 5 seconds. The game is tied. New Trier has the ball. This for the state championship. We've got overtime.
Well, here we go.
Kenya Pittman stayed with it and knocked it in for Marshall. And New Trier could not get one off as the clock wound down. And a little earlier, we had a triple overtime game for 3rd place, which Immaculate Heart won over Moline. And now you see the score.
Well, this is really what girls basketball in Illinois is all about. And there's so many teams that can really play, and they're so competitive. This is really exciting.
In girls basketball in high school, it is 3-minute overtime. And so that's how much is on the clock. Now, how does any strategy or coaching change in overtime period?
I don't think you really can change your game plan. What you still have to do is keep playing hard, and just hopefully you'll get the lead and be able to, you know, do the things you need to do to keep it. You know, one thing that's important, I think all the coaches in the state should thank the Illinois High School Association for all the things they do for the athletes and the girls. And we've been down here and played 5 times, been very lucky, and Shar Bremberg and her staff have been very nice to us, and I think that maybe sometimes that should be said. I don't think a lot of people really know what they do for you, but when you come down here, you really feel like you're important, and that's good. I wish every girl in the state got a chance to play in this tournament.
For sure, and it's that way from the media standpoint. Of course, we jump ball starting the overtime period. And so New Trier takes Trish Andrew into the middle against Tony Foster. A 3-minute game for the championship. Marshall starts with the ball. They have their starting lineup in the game, and they call timeout immediately. 2:51 to go. Now, that's a very interesting scenario. They got the tip. Is this timeout for a substitution?
Looks like they wanted to bring a player into the game, and it could be possibly they're going to try and hold the ball. Spread them out and try and penetrate and go for an easy layup.
Monica Smith, I believe, took the jacket off along the bench over there. And now, what kind of pressure are teams good enough to keep the ball almost 3 minutes at this level of competition?
Both of these teams are good enough to keep the ball, but you know, it's a long time, and I think that probably what's going to happen here is somebody's going to make a mistake, and the mistake is going to win the game.
The Dakota Pep Band is enjoying the experience and entertaining the crowd. You know, one of the things this points out to me again is the value of guard play. Good teams seem to me always have good guard.
That's important. I think every team that's won this state tournament has had a good guard, and I think that the guards really control the game, even though you have outstanding players like Trish Andrews going to Michigan and Tony Foster, who can go probably where she wants.
New Trier has taken 44 shots, made exactly a half. Marshall 19 of 42 free throws. New Trier 6 of 9, and the Commandos 4 out of 5. The rebound advantage is to New Trier by 7. Turnovers almost equal.
It's pretty equal, isn't it?
This game has been that way. New Trier started off with a 17-10 lead at the first quarter, but a 1-point lead at the half, a 5-point lead after 3, a tie after regulation. This is overtime, and it certainly appears that Marshall intends to hold the ball.
Yeah, that's what we thought they might do, but New Trier's in their 1-3-1 zone. They're going to bring Waller out to put a little bit of pressure because they have to force the action, but I don't think they're going to come out at them too strongly.
Now the official will give a signal to the New Trier team to come out, force play.
Right. I'm sure at the timeout, John had an idea they were going to do this, so he probably, he's been in these situations before. I'm sure that he told his team exactly what to do.
Now here's a technical foul, I take it, for not forcing the action. Is that what happened, Coach? That's exactly what happened. The official just said technical foul on White. They didn't come out and get them.
Looked like she was out there pretty far. I'm not sure exactly why he called that technical, but that's what he's saying. They didn't come out.
What's incumbent on the defensive team in that situation?
Well, if it's tied, the defensive team has to come out and force the action, and that's what New Trier did not do. John wants to talk to the official because he feels that Sharon was out there. In fact, I heard him on the bench saying, go out there with her.
Pittman hit it in the semifinal game. She had 5 out of 6 from the free throw line, and has 15 points and 7 rebounds in this one. She could put her team ahead by 2 here.
Kenya Pittman was almost a 90% free throw shooter, too.
Well, she put the one that made it ahead, but the pressure for New Trier is that Marshall gets the ball back.
Yeah, and they got a point lead, so now New Trier is going to have to play a little bit tougher on defense. They can't let them run the clock down too far.
So the technical foul for not forcing the action gives Marshall the lead in the ball. There's 2:10 to play in overtime. Man-to-man now by New Trier. They need to get their hands back on that ball. Sabrina Harris against Liz Richards way outside.
Here's a dangerous one.
Tony Foster tries to beat Andrews. She does, and missed it. Rebound Hale. Romanowski battling. Foul on Perry Romanowski.
That's a tough break for New Trier. They had everything they wanted right there. They had the ball, and let's take a look at this and see what happened. It was a rather late call.
The New Trier people behind us are very unhappy as Foster went in and Romanowski was called for the foul.
They called it over the back. Maybe the people didn't hear the whistle. Could have been the problem.
A minute 52 to play in this game.
It's surprising that Tony Foster went right to the basket there with nobody back there to rebound. She has a lot of confidence.
She really does. And she's so quick that if she gets her hands on the ball at the high post, she can slip down the lane.
Right. That's where she's most dangerous on Trish, because Trish has got, to play her right on her, and she can get around Trish.
Down to a minute 25 to go, and a whistle and a foul on New Trier. Second appearance in the AA championships for the Trevians.
Here's Sharon Waller just reaching in, trying to create something here. And she got a piece of the hand.
Rita Hale with 10 in the game. And now a whistle and a timeout.
John's going over to talk to the official about that call.
What Coach Schneider was telling the official is that he didn't think they heard the warning of the official to come out and force the action.
Yeah, I don't know exactly if they did or not, but the kids started to come out, but I don't think they knew they were going to get technical because of that.
Well, no one, of course, that watches basketball, plays or coaches it wants the game to be decided by anyone but the players. And we have a minute 25 for that to happen. There you see Coach Schneider. He's won the boys championship, and he's won 5 state titles in tennis coaching, but he's never had any harder work than this, Coach Kip.
John has built this program. He came into coaching at New Trier the same year that I came in at Maine West, and everything that happens there he's done. He's built the program and worked in the summer very hard with it, and they were very close the last few years, but we were lucky enough to beat them, so this is his chance, and I'm sure he wants it real badly.
Coach, let's see if we can see where those players were placed on the court. Here they are when the technical was called. Here where the players were. And there's Waller coming out a little bit. And right there you see in the upper left corner the official calling the technical foul.
Well, what John was wondering about it, he didn't think he told or warned the team. He should have gone up and really told them to come out. And it doesn't show in the replay. So.
Rita Hale's free throw is missed. Rebound to Hale. She got it back. So Marshall has the lead of 1 and the ball at 1:20. Good break for the Commandos, but they hustled after it. Now Foster's loose. Watch her move. She got it.
3-point play, probably.
It counts. And Marshall has taken a giant step toward a title with that move.
The fundamental thing, you want to block out the shooter on those free throws. That kind of stuff really hurts. Carey came over and just got about a little bit of body on her.
26th point for Tony Foster, might have been the biggest of all. It's a 51-48 lead now.
It's a big free throw.
It sure is, because if she misses, New Trier could shoot a 3.
Yeah, and they can do that.
Foster drilled it right in the teeth of the game. She makes a 3-point play. Marshall by 4, and New Trier's got to get a shot in a hurry. They turn it over. And now Marshall has the hammer. Romanowski going for a steal. Kenya Pittman will do a lot of the ball handling here because she's a good foul shooter as well as ball handler. Romanowski fouls her, 1 in bonus.
It was unfortunate going down the floor. Liz Richards wasn't looking for the ball, and Carey saw her up court and gave it to her, and she just wasn't turned around and able to catch it.
Now the big culprit for New Trier is that clock. It's under a minute. And here's another solid game for Pittman with 15 points and 7 boards.
Right, she missed her last free throw, but I'd be surprised if she misses this one.
Swish. It's a 5-point game. Now, if New Trier shoots a 3, who's going to try that? There's Dorothy Gators.
Carey Romanowski. There's no doubt that she'll be the one that's trying to shoot it.
Pittman hit them both. And now 55 seconds separates Marshall from the title.
I think Marshall knows Carey Romanowski's going to shoot the 3. They're in their box and 1 again.
She's got it. She eyed it, but she was hounded a little bit and couldn't. Waller doesn't take it. Now she tries. It's too short. Out of her range.
Definitely way out of her range.
And Marshall has the ball. Probably New Trier will be forced to foul again.
Looks like it.
half a minute. In overtime, Marshall leading New Trier by 6. And a steal by Waller. New Trier has a gasp. Ramanowski rumbles in all the way, missed it. Waller rebounds, or Andrew for 2. Trish Andrew gets it.
I got the quick timeout.
And a quick timeout for New Trier. It's a 4-point game with 18 seconds. And having seen, let's take a look at this again. Having seen 4 overtimes a day, you never know what's going to happen.
No, they have to force a defense here. This is Waller making a quick steal, getting it right down the floor to Ramanowski. Took it to the basket. She's trying to draw the foul as well as make the basket, but Trish Andrew comes in and gets it. And then we get the quick timeout by Ramanowski. That's quick thinking. How many timeouts are left there for New Trier?
See, New Trier's got 1 timeout left. Check. Is that right?
That's going to make a difference in the ball game because they can. They got one more possession. They can stop that clock. If they can get the ball back, shoot, they can call that timeout again and stop that clock.
Trish Andrews now sitting on 23 points and 12 rebounds. And there's your timeouts, each team with 1 timeout. There's 18 seconds left to play in this championship game in AA. Dorothy Gators trying for her 3rd AA championship.
Dorothy's a real winner, and I think that whatever happens in this game, she knows that she's been in the ball game.
Pittman gets free to Harris. Now looking for Foster. Finds her. Tony steps in and comes back out. 12 seconds to play. New Trier in the driver's seat toward the title now. Or a check at Marshall. Marshall's got a 4-point lead at 54-50. And they have taken control when they got that lead on that technical and that free throw. And they haven't relinquished.
Yeah, that really did it. They wasted about 9 seconds there before they got the foul on that. And those 9 seconds they'd like to have back, I'm sure.
Rita Hale hits the free throw. And now Marshall sensing what's happening for them. Coach, what's it feel like to win a state championship?
It's unbelievable. It's, you know,
how long to come down? A week?
Yeah, it takes a long time. You're just so happy for the kids because you know how hard they've worked, and you know, the community gets involved. And
steal by Marshall, 5 seconds.
It's really exciting.
The Commandos throw the ball in the air. They win it. Marshall is the state champion.
Well, they're all out there jumping around. They worked awful hard for this, I know, and Marshall's come a long way since rebuilding their team last year.
We talked about Day of Champions, and there they are. The Commandos of Marshall and Dorothy Gators have won. The Public League is the winner. This is their 29th victory of this season. And John Schneider will have to try again to be the first coach to win in both boys and girls. We'll be back at the Assembly Hall in a moment. Let's pause for this message. Won the state championship in AA with an overtime victory over New Trier. New Trier wraps up a brilliant season at 32-3.
They had a brilliant year, and this game could have gone either way, and Dorothy and John will tell you it just comes out to a lot of breaks as we had last year, and I'm sure both these teams are going to be fighting for this again next year.
Marshall won in 82. They won in 85. They lost to the champion Maine West in the semifinals a year ago for their only loss, and come back with a 29-2 record to win here today. And let's take a look quickly at some of the leading scorers for New Trier. Andrew with 23, Ramanowski with 15, and Waller with 8. For Marshall, Foster with 27, Pittman with 17 in the crucial free throw, Hale with a dozen to lead the Commandos. So in Class AA, Moline is the 4th place finisher. Immaculate Heart of Mary wins 3rd. Second, the New Trier Trevians finishing at 32-3. And the final in overtime, Marshall the winners, 56-50. We'll see you tonight with the A Championship at 8 o'clock. For Coach Darrell Kipp, this is Frank Bissoni. Thanks for watching. So long, everybody.